All right. Well, greetings and salutations to everybody out there in YouTube land. I'm your host once again, Dan Thornton. I want to thank you all for tuning in today, this morning, Sunday, the day after the NFL draft. And you know what? I think probably a lot of Lions fans are still trying to ascertain what to make out of this draft. Some of these guys, they don't know anything about. So if you've watched some of the other videos, maybe you got a little bit more information. If you haven't watched some of those, then I'm going to try to bring you up to speed. I'm going to give you my breakdown of these guys. And, have your own thoughts. By all means, come up with your own opinions. Check out other sources. These are just going to be my opinions. I'm going to try to give you some reasons why I think some of these picks really work out well, why some of them probably going to need some time to grow, and just my overall thoughts, strengths, weaknesses, ups, downs, lefts, and rights on them all. We'll see what you guys have to say. But we came into the draft, as I think most of us know, not needing a whole lot. So it was my anticipation coming to the draft. There's no way we were going to be at a house 7 draft picks. Well, how about 6? I guess 6 is easier to do than 7, right? We did give up some draft picks, as you know, not just from this year's draft, but from next year's draft. You're just going to have to trust in Brad Holmes where he's going with things. And so far, during his 4 drafts, he's done no wrong. Could this be the first time he drops the ball, fumbles it away, whatever? We'll have to wait and see. But I think with some of these guys, they got some extreme value. And I know I've talked about that throughout the draft weekend, but we're going to do a little bit deeper dive today. Real quick, before we get into the meat of this video, if you haven't yet subscribed to Lions Talk Live, please consider doing so, making a push to hit 6,600 subs. And I want to say we're, 70 away, 60 some subs away. So if you can help out with that, that'd be really great of you, and I really appreciate it. Also, if you're watching the video, you're enjoying the video, if you can, go ahead and hit that thumbs up button. As most of you know, it really helps the channel out. So do that if you would, please, and it will help push the content out to more and more new people that have never seen Lions Talk Live before. All right, last but never least, just because I'm a working individual and prefer working, if you are looking to buy or sell property anywhere in the great state of Michigan, give me a call or shoot me a text. You see the number on the screen, 269-998-2384. Let me use over 30 years in the industry to your behest, save you some money, save you some headaches, save you some troubles. So can be anywhere in the state of Michigan. You can give me a call or shoot me a text, and we'll see what we can do to help you out. If you're outside the state of Michigan, still call, still text. I'll do what I can to help you out as best I can. All right, welcome to Lions Talk Live. We probably won't go a full hour today. It's probably going to be closer to 40 minutes or somewhere around there, just because I do have to drive over just north of Bay City again today for a listing from a Lions Talk Liver on their 200-acre farmland. Got to get a couple things finalized, and that's about a 4-hour drive there, 4-hour drive back. And we've got the show tonight, just in case you guys didn't know, with Mark Orm's Forum, another YouTuber who's going to come on, and we're going to break down the draft in length right at 7 o'clock tonight. Probably last for close to an hour tonight. So going to have to cut out just a little early today. All right, let's go through each of the draft picks, and we'll get through some of the comments and such once we do this. I'll try to get through my grades on each of these guys and what my initial thoughts are. I promise you guys I'd watch some video more in-depth last night and this morning. I've done that, and I think I can see a lot of different things with these guys, but let's just go ahead and stop with the jibber jabber and get into it. All right, with Terrion Arnold, as you guys probably know from the night of the draft, I came out and did a video on my big board. I tried to put the top 100 people out there, at least in my eyes. I didn't go further than that. No offense. I'm just one person trying to do it all. So watching 100 people coming up with my top 100 list, I had him as number 10 overall, and I've seen all sorts of different mock boards or whatever, big boards, ESPN boards, whatever, Mel Kiper Jr. stuff. It seems like most of them had him somewhere between, we'll say, 9 and 15. A lot of them thought he would get drafted right around somewhere between 13 and 18. So for the Lions to have got him at where they did, I mean, I thought that was just, let's start with this, extreme value. I think most of us agree. None of us anticipated the Lions would be able to get him with the number 24 overall pick. Obviously, the big run with the offensive side of the ball helped everybody who needed defenders out. All right, so now let's start why I like him. It's real tough for anybody to get separation for this kid. So if you're going to play coverage in the secondary, whether it's a safety or whether it's a corner slot position, which I think this year's Detroit Lions, you've heard me talk about it for probably about a week now. I think they're going more and more towards you're not a safety, you're not a corner, you're a secondary person. Because Arnold, like just about everybody on next year's, at least what would seem like everybody's secondary for the Lions next year, they just play secondary. They've played safety, they've played corner. So let's start with that. The fact that he can move his hips and keep his fluid motion tight enough to where separation is pretty hard to get away from him. Now, on top of that, he has instincts when it comes to locating and finding the ball. He is a playmaker, in my opinion. He does a great job with that. In my opinion, in those respects, he's the best cornerback in this year's draft. Now, his one weakness is he doesn't have elite speed. He doesn't have the 4.2, 4.3 speed. He ran a 4.5 flat. So what I'm anticipating is at the NFL level, he's going to really have to work on that upper body strength a little bit more to really try to jam at the line of scrimmage when asked to do so, and just maintain that extra quarter of a second to try to displace routes a little bit more. The other part of it is he may have to back an extra foot off. So I don't think it's anything egregious. He won't be the first elite. If he becomes an elite cornerback, he won't be the first guy to play in the NFL with, not 4.3, 4.2, 4.4 speed. Are there some things they can do to probably speed him up a little bit more? Sure. When you watch him run, I want you to watch his knees when he runs. He could work on some of that lower body development, and this would probably be more Jen's wheelhouse than mine, but could it be developed slightly more? Yes. And probably by his second year in the league, he'll shave some time off that 40 time. So as far as strengths, I think his instincts are off the board. His ability to move the hips and maintain gap integrity on routes, he's off the charts with that. He's the best in this draft class, in my opinion, in regards to that. And in those two things, locating the ball and keeping gap integrity, it's not even close with anybody else I watched. Now, there could be somebody else I'm not aware of, but I'd say I probably watched what I would consider the top 10 cornerbacks. And if you're below that and better than Arnold, I'd have to ask why you weren't a higher rated player at that point. So overall, I'm going to give this an A+. I'm not going to factor in trade values or anything like that, what we gave up to get somebody. I'm just going to look at the player on the field and say, is this person a football player? And what did the Lions, where did they get them at on the draft board? What's, the other part would be their future evolvement. So where do I think they're going to end up being? I'm not going to say he's going to be Sauce Gardner, Deion Sanders or anything like that. I'm going to say this, though. It would be my anticipation by year 3 in the NFL, he may very well be a top 10, maybe top 7 cornerback in the league. Could he be higher than that? Absolutely, but I just don't want to burden somebody with that. I'm just going to say I think he's going to be a dang good cornerback, and especially for those top 2 reasons. All right, let's move on to the next one. So again, I'm going to give him an A+ all around because again, I had him at a top 10 corner, just football player for this draft, and the fact you got him at 24. I mean, I'm not going to factor it into my grade. I'm just going to grade him as a player, but it does go to illustrate my point. I thought he was a great value. Now, with that being said about great value, Rakestraw, I also think with Ennis Rakestraw, the Lions got great value. I went back and checked. I had him as basically a mid to late 30s overall football player grade. So wasn't worried about the cornerback room or anything. I think when I was on the air after we drafted him, I thought I had him at like 44, but when I checked the board, he was late 30s. So again, you got him at 61, so you got great value. But again, I'm not going to factor that into my grade for him overall. So as far as his strengths, he's highly aggressive. He is a missile waiting to hit somebody. He closes. His closing speed is very good, and I actually think he tackles better than I think his rap going into the draft would suggest. Now, they had him running at a 4.5 flat as well, or a 4.51, sorry. But I will say this, he did that with a groin injury, so it's my full anticipation when he's fully healthy, he's probably closer to a 4.45, somewhere in that range. His vertical is going to be a little bit better. His cone drills are going to be a little bit better. I think he maintains gap integrity on routes pretty good. He's nowhere near Arnold. I mean, Arnold is, he is like stick him. He's on somebody, and it's hard to get away from him. Rakestraw, I think he's pretty good at it. I think he could get better, To me, when I watched him, if you watch his hips and his core body, so in the middle of his body, he looks a little stiff there. And I know I'm going to talk about at least one other person in this draft class with that same issue. But I think that's a coachable thing. I think he can be developed a little bit better on that. So when I watch those two things, I know sort of like Arnold, Rakestraw has played some safety. I think he's probably going to have to start out his NFL career as a slot corner and evolve into somebody who can potentially play, the outside spot, maybe the corner spot, or safety spot. But like we've also talked about with Arnold, and we've talked about for a little bit about the Detroit Lions defense next year, I don't really think there's going to be you're a corner, you're a safety. So he's going to fit into that. And you're also noticing, if I may, with the Detroit Lions, that all their cornerbacks have spent some time in the NFL or college at the safeties position and cornerback position. So they seem to be further going with that. Now, his closing speed, like I said, is real good. His gap integrity, as far as maintaining coverage on a receiver, is pretty good. It's just not Arnold's level. So I'm gonna say this. My only real concern with him is his lack of mass and the fact he plays so physically. He had the injury history in college, and I'm going to anticipate that's going to continue at the NFL level. Usually that doesn't go away. They're going to do some things to try to improve upon that for sure. He's going to have full-time strength conditioning coordinators working with him, some of the best medical on the planet Earth to help him recover from things. But overall, I'm going to say this. I thought they got great value for where they drafted him. He definitely superseded on my board a 61 ranking or whatever draft pick. And like I said, I think he should have gone somewhere in the 30s. But good for the Lions for getting him. I'm going to give him an A-. So far, Arnold, A+, Rakestraw, A-. All right, so now let's move on to the next one here. Boy, I think I forgot to put him on the board. Hold on. Sorry, I'm going to have to add him in. Sorry, guys. I got so busy with stuff here today. I guess I didn't double check everything. So 1 second, if you please. I got to put Giovanni Manu on the board. So my apologies for messing this up here. All right. Let's see. Get a create banner. All right. Boom, boom, boom. Bada bing. All right. There we go. All right. So with Manu, I'm going to say this. I think he could end up being the biggest steal of this NFL draft. And it doesn't mean I know everybody's selections from every team across the NFL this year. But I'm just going to summarize with this. I think he's a freak of nature. I think he is, whatever you want to say, he might as well have a cape and an S on his chest, whatever you want to do, whatever kind of analogies you want to say. This guy is an athletic human being who just happens to be a massive human being with a bit of a mean streak. You guys have heard me talk about when I do personality evaluations on players. What are they like off the field? What are they like on the field? You hear him talking. He's a humble kind of guy. He's also one, though, when you get him on that field, you know what? He can find that switch, and he can turn it on, and he can maul some people. Now, this guy needs a ton, in my opinion, of technical development. I think he's relied, it would appear, on the film I watched last night. I probably watched more film on him last night than any other individual. I'm guessing he's somebody who's gotten by so far in his playing career just on his God-given abilities, his genetics. Now, that means he's relied on that, and he hasn't had, and it's no slight on any coaches he's had. He just hasn't been taught some of the things he's going to absolutely need at this level. Once he gets that done, do I think by year 3 or so of his NFL career, he could be a dang good offensive tackle? Yes, I do. I think he could be an absolute brute mauler. I think there is the potential with this guy. 5-6 years from now, people are going to look back and go, wow, they got him where in the draft? Yeah, I think he's got that written all over him and in droves. A lot of people don't know him right now. I get it. But I'm going to say this. He's got so much ability. It's just hard to believe they got him, in a trade, and you got somebody to basically give you the rights to get him. 4th round pick, yes, 126 or whatever it was. So you're saying there's 125 guys better than him. And I get it with some of the other tackles taken. Hey, they're more proven commodities. They don't need to invest so much time in them. But the fact that the Detroit Lions have such a great coaching staff And Frank Haley is absolutely, without question, one of the best, if not the best, offensive line coaches in the NFL. I think this guy is going to be the real McCoy. I think we're all going to be looking back and saying, man, oh man, we stole somebody on that draft. So he's going to have to clean up his hand placement, his leverage responsibilities, because while he's still going to probably be about the biggest offensive lineman on the field most of the time, he's not going to have quite the same amount of leverage value that he's had in college and in other levels. He's going to have to face more people closer to his size, more close to his strength, and he's going to have to learn how to use his hand placement, get the thumbs under the shoulder pads a little bit more, how to tilt, how to turn, how to use his elbows out or in, depending on the type of play. He's going to have to learn all those technical things. His footwork isn't horrible by any means, especially when he's on the left side. You can see his lead leg when he kicks back. He does a real good job of that, and some of that is because he is so incredibly mobile. It's my anticipation, as I put in the video yesterday, he's going to get moved to the right side. Now, what I really like about him is I think you're going to be able to involve him in a lot of swing passes or screen passes, and he's going to be able to get out and cover real nicely. He's going to be able to do that, no problem at all. He's also going to be able to maul and go downfield on a lot of those screens and really pick up faster, shorter defensive players and get to them, where I think most of you watch a screen pass, a lot of offensive linemen struggle with that once you get past the first 5 or 6 yards. It's just, it's not in their wheelhouse. They don't have that type of agility to take on somebody who's significantly shorter, faster, lighter on their feet. Manu is not that guy, though. He can go out and do that. So I'm going to say this. My downsides on him are just that he needs a lot of development. So I wouldn't expect much out of him this year. Hopefully he supersedes my expectations. I'd say year 2, maybe you start getting some return on investment. Year 3 is also where I think he's going to really shine. And again, maybe he does all this faster. It's just, again, I don't like putting a lot of pressure on somebody and saying that they're going to be all world or whatever by tomorrow. But I think in time he will be. I'm going to say this. I think this is the best value pick of the entire draft for the Detroit Lions. I'm going to give him an A++. And again, it's all on potential. I get that. So it could totally blow up, but I think it's there. All right, moving on down the list now. Stoney Vakai, let's see. I'm going to say this. As far as the grades, he's probably the second least high grade. I'm trying to word it politely or whatever for everybody. Now, that doesn't mean I don't like the guy. I do like the guy. I do like him a lot. I just think as far as value, where they got him, I'm trying not to factor those things in, but I think ultimately at the end of the day, Vaki, he's probably going to be a sound backup, but in multiple layers. And I get he's listed as a running back. He's listed as safety, a special teams ace. There's nothing wrong with that. You need those dudes on the team. When I watched him in coverage, I mean, he's okay, but if you're okay at that level, you're probably going to be less than okay at this level. So he's not fluid in a lot of his routes. He is a missile. When he comes to hit you, he's going to hit you. And I see why that translates from the running back position to the safety position. He's going to do a great job with that. I think he would probably best fit in zone coverage from watching him, just his reactions to plays, his breaking on the ball. It's a little slower to me. It's not ideal. So from a safety position, if he is going to play that much, I think he's got a lot of work to do Doesn't mean he can't do it, but it just doesn't look fluid at the college level. So if it doesn't look fluid there, I have zero anticipations that's going to look great at the pro level, but maybe he can be coached up. Now, from a running back standpoint, I think he hits the hole incredibly well. Like I said, he's a missile, goes after it. I think he's going to do that stuff incredibly well for short yardage, burst plays between the tackles. And I'm going to say especially between the guard and center. If he runs into that gap, the A gap there or the B gap there, I think he's going to do real nice things there. Where I think it didn't get talked about a lot yesterday, from at least the clips I heard, I think he could potentially add a lot of value in the return game on special teams, punt and kickoff returning, especially in the new rules. So we'll have to wait and see with that. But I'm going to give him a C+. I think there's some stuff there with him. I think you're also going to if you have high expectations for him, I think that's probably not fair to the kid, but I'm going to give him a C plus. I don't think there's anything wrong with him. I just don't think there's anything particularly great with him, but he is going to be able to do multiple roles for you, which I know I talked about a little bit yesterday, is going to potentially free up at least one roster spot so you can keep somebody else you are not anticipating keeping. All right, Wingo. He's a pass rush specialist is what I'd say. He's going to be the defensive tackle that can split gaps and get some pressure at the quarterback. Nothing wrong with that. My problem with him right off the bat is his arm length. It's pretty short for a defensive tackle at the NFL level. So I think how does this impact him? He's going to struggle to rip through a lot of blockers who have power or leverage in the upper body on him. And it doesn't mean he doesn't have any upper body strength. It just means when they get their hands on him, he's going to struggle to push them off to keep them off him from getting further leverage on him. So unless I'm proven wrong, and I hope I am, I think he's going to have a real hard time getting pass rush wins at a high level at the NFL level of play. The run game, I think he's okay as far as run defense. I don't think he's great. I don't think it's his strength. His strength is getting past that guard, that center, maybe the off-tick nose tackle positions. That means you're lining up slightly to the edge of the center to try to get that easier win rate on him. Either way, I think there's a reason why he slipped to where he was taken in the draft, and I do believe, in my opinion, it's almost all because of his arm length or lack thereof, and the fact that he's going to struggle getting past most offensive linemen because of that. When he can get outside leverage, when he can split and get them to turn their hips, drop that first look, and he begins to get that win, that's where I think because of his athleticism, he's going to be pretty dominant. So can you coach him up? Can you get better value with him? Yeah, in time it's possible. I mean, he would not be the only player in the NFL history to have success if he can develop that have had, some physical challenges, I guess you could say. So for right now with Wingo, that's my biggest worry with him is just can he create enough separation from offensive linemen to keep them from really leaning on him and keeping contact with him. If he can learn to do that, he does have some wheels. He can get to people. He could have great value there, especially in a rotational piece instead of an every down piece, defensive tackle. So overall, end of the day, I'm going to give him a C. I don't think he kills you. I don't think he's helping you. So I'll go with that. I think he's a solid C. So Vaki, C+, Wingo, C. Now, Christian Mahogany, that's going to be a completely different story than the last two guys. I can see why he slipped down. I get a lot of pundits had him as a fourth rounder, third rounder. I even found one or two that had him as a late second rounder. So a lot of people see some value with him, and it's there for sure, without question. My question is, I get he's 6'3", he's got a lot of mass, love that stuff. Run game, I think he's going to be able to help out in the run game as far as run blocking pretty quickly in the league. I think some of his pass protection, I talked a little bit earlier on the show where I said, hey, you could see with Rakestraw, he's just kind of stiff in the midsection. That's definitely the case here with Christian, is that he doesn't turn incredibly well. When somebody starts winning on his leverage, he gets past his strength, his physical strength, he struggles to be able to regain, recover, and keep them in front. So because of that, I think his pass protection or lack thereof is going to be a severe hindrance on him until that's coached up in him more. So he gets his hands on you, he's probably going to win most of the time, especially when he gets to go forward. So run blocking, I don't think it's going to be a problem with him whatsoever. Sorry, one of our dogs is scared of thunder, and it's thundering out here pretty hard. So he just came up and snuggled up on me. So I'll see with Christian. I think he's probably sort of like we talked about with Manu or in other players. It's going to take time to develop him, but the raw material is there from a physical standpoint. Just the athletic parts of things. But it's going to take some time for him to learn how to open up his midsection a little bit more, open up his stance, and keep leverage on any kind of defender who's coming at him. The good part is he's probably going to be a guard at this level, so he's going to have some help. It is possible, I think, by year 2 or 3 that he is a starting offensive lineman in the NFL. I had some hesitations on that yesterday. I know when I went on air because I wasn't able to watch a ton of film on him. But last night and this morning I did. And I'll say this, there's enough there where I think he could be a sneaky surprise. So because of that, I'm going to give him a solid B. I don't want to go super high with my grade on him. I don't want to go low on him. I think there's enough raw components there for him, especially when it comes to his upper body mass, his lower strength in his legs, and in the run game. The run game, I think he'd be pretty ready pretty quick at the NFL level. It's going to come down to pass protection. So if you can put him out there early in his career with some help, he's probably going to be okay. If you're just asking him to run block the majority of the time, he's also going to be pretty okay. All right, those are my grades. I'm not going to worry about the undrafted free agents because you know what? I did not have any time to really do a deep dive on them. There's probably going to be 50 other guys on YouTube that can give you more information than me, so I don't want to hold you up on that. All right, let's see what you guys have to say about that. Now you got my grades from each of them. I really like the draft overall. I really like, especially Manu. I know I talked about that a lot. I like both the corners. The one other thing I'll point out with this is you look at where we drafted, all the guys out there, they all hit positions that predominantly are one-year contract heavy on the team. Cornerback, offensive line, safety to a degree. So I thought that wasn't by happenstance. The Detroit Lions, Brad Holmes, MCDC, they came into this draft particularly wanting to identify that. These guys, in my opinion, were drafted to basically replace some guys after this year. The Lions also probably went into free agency, signing a lot of these guys to one-year deals or looking at who has expiring contracts and saying, you know what, we're going to draft to replace some of these guys. So I did a video yesterday, especially speaking about Taylor Decker. I hope Deck is around for a couple more years. I do. I like the guy. He's a Detroit Lion. I also think, as I've talked about probably at length on the channel, he had that ankle surgery trying to get through a really good year this year to get another contract. So I can't be the only one who sees that. My anticipation is Detroit Lions are going to be watching him. And if he plays lights out this year, which hopefully he does because that benefits the team, I think your big question with Decker is going to be, hey, he just played one of his best seasons ever. Is it sustainable? And if so, how long do we think it will be sustainable? So it'll be interesting to see how that situation unfolds. All right, enough of the jibber jabber. Let's go with you guys and see what you guys have to say. JDC, good morning, all. Good morning to you too. Hopefully having a great one. Bo, good Sunday morning. Duke Crew, Superdome or bust, exclamation point. The villain, 100%. And good morning, Bo. Hopefully having a great one. I have typically given the best grade for a draft at this point, a B at best. It's so early. Judging effectiveness is difficult. However, I give Brad the villain Holmes an A. Fair enough. I'll go with that. I think overall, if I added up my grades, you'd probably be somewhere around a B plus. So I don't think we're far off. All right, Hatman, good morning. Dan, Duke Crew. Woo! The first woo of the show. Good morning, Hatman. Let's see, Hatman. Good morning, JDC and Bo. There you go. Bo, early risers unit. JDC is the first, Hatman. Good to see you. Woo! 1,000%. Thomas, greetings, salutations, Duke Crew. Extremely happy with our picks, especially getting Mahogany in the 6th. I just like getting Coach to pronounce. Yeah. I know I pronounce things poorly. Hey, it's part of how I am, man. So you take the good and the bad with it. Sorry, man. I could tell you some growing up. Yeah, that bit me a lot. It's just how it is, man. It's how my brain reads things. All right, Jessica Green, salutations, y'all. Man, I'm dragging today, struggling to wake up. Haha. Well, hey, have a Mountain Dew, and hopefully that helps you out. Mahogany Rush, there you go, Bo. JDC, hi hat, no pun intended. There you go. Let's see, Stephanie. Good morning, boys. Anyone with thoughts on the undrafted free agents? Not at this point. I didn't have enough time trying to evaluating the rookie class. I just didn't want to stay up till like 2 a.m. and get like 1 or 2 hours sleep. All right, Hatman, I like the JDC. It's catchy. There you go. All right, JDC, Bo Booth, Frank Marino. There you go. Gut War. There you go. Bo, hi hat. Bad rump, snare drum drop. All right. JDC, LOL. AJ Buchanan. Hey, exclamation point. Now that was a big thing of lightning that just went over our head. Now that the draft is over, who's ready for the season? Question mark. I don't want to wait. Yeah, and that's the tough part. Now the draft is over. we probably got about another week of everybody talking about the draft, evaluating it, breaking it down, grading it, or whatever. After that, we start hitting some real dead times. But don't worry, I've got some ideas for the Duke crew to try to keep you guys entertained for a month or two. All right, Thomas, if Wingo can give us more than Levi, he has a win. Yeah, and I will say this, Thomas, for Levi, last year, if you look at his grades, I think he did incredibly well. The problem with him is just the amount of snaps he does or does not get, I guess, depending on your point of view. And a lot of that, I'm guessing, is just the coaching staff is aware of his recovery process. They're trying to not overload him. This season will be the season that I think makes or breaks him, because if he can start taking on more workload and maintain the results he had last year, then maybe you've got something there. Is he ever going to be what he could have been? Probably not, but it doesn't mean he can't be an effective, probably backup at the NFL level. Bo, 6th round gold so far. Rodrigo in Houston, good point there. Never know who grows into a stud. This is true. Yeah, and Brad, heck, man, you look at Amon-Ra St. Brown in the 4th, like you said with Rodrigo, Houston. There's probably other people I'm not thinking of, but you're spot on with that, Bo. Eddie, Big Eddie, what do you got? Good morning, Duke crew. It will be interesting to find out why some of these guys slipped down in the draft. You've heard my thoughts. By all means, have your own. Throw them in the comments section. JDC, Stephanie Wilder, hi. No thoughts here. Too early. Fair enough. Yeah, fair enough on that, especially being early. Thomas, roll pride. Well, I'll go with that. Clark, greetings, salutations. I'm liking the draft. Yes, we gave up some future picks, but I'm going to trust in the process. Holmes has been gold for us. Yes, I agree with that 1,000%. I'm not doubting anybody that he's taken until I'm proven otherwise or until I'm proven wrong. I've given you my thoughts. By no means have I done 3 or 4 months of work like the NFL scouts have. I've just done some initial breakdowns. Here's what I saw, some commonalities here and there. So I could be incredibly right or wrong with these guys. But I do feel good with my overall thoughts. But is it going to be the amount of research that a professional scout at the NFL level or just an NFL scout would do? Probably not. All right, Bo. Hi, Stephanie. Yeah, I'm with JDC there. It's early, and I'm crashed long before the undrafted free agent signing started. Yeah, probably most of us were in that same boat there, Bo. France, what do you got there? Good morning. I wasn't sure I'd make it home in time for the live. Well, I'm glad you made it, and hopefully you're having a good time watching. Just say, K, what do you got? With this draft class, I'll say it, Super Bowl or bust. A whole lot of exclamation points there. Hope you're having a great one. Surfer, good morning, Coach, and everyone else. 100% back at you, Surfer. Hatman, after having time to digest this draft and watching a little film, we have some guys with upside to them and some great potential. I give it a B- right now, but I don't know the undrafted free agent kid out of Duke. Yeah, I don't really, like I said, I didn't do any diving, any homework on any of the undrafted. So, Hatman, you probably already know more than I do on those guys. Let's see, Lions fan, what do you got? Good morning, Surfer and Duke crew, back at you. Phil, greetings and salutations. I'm starting on the Duke crew guitar today. Dan, I'll need your address. I'll send it over to you, Phil. And hey, can't wait to see it. Hey, good morning too, by the way. Bo, I saw Wingo Dingoes last night. Wonder what DC nickname is going to get the most traction. Out of that I don't know. All will be told in time. All right, Steve Rogers, good morning, all. Let's see how this class goes. I'm not super excited about it. Maybe that's why it'll work. Yeah, there could be a lot of truth to that because a lot of these guys, most of us don't know much about. I mean, the first rounders, second rounders, that's probably where most of us have familiarity. And so unless you watch one of these teams or some of the other guys drafted, you probably just don't know much about them, so you don't know how to react, whether it's a happy or sad moment. So all will be foretold in time. All right, Thomas, Lions need to move their scrimmages to Ford Field. The demand is going to be huge. No, I think this will probably be one of the biggest preseason attended games or stretches that we've seen probably in recent memory for the Detroit Lions. A lot of people are going to want to see these rookies. They're going to come off of the great success of the last 2 years, so there's going to be pent-up demand after not seeing them play for, I don't know, whatever it is, 5 months at that point, 6 months at that point. Plus, don't forget the Hendon Hooker factor. A lot of people are going to want to see how this kid can sling it, what he's going to do. So, yes, I'm anticipating the scrimmages plus the preseason games. They're going to be highly sought-after commodities. All right, Surfer, Silver Surfer, excuse me. Coach, I really hope Kirby gets completely healthy. I believe he has an incredible character and personality. He doesn't play cornerback, but Lions don't need him to. He is a pure safety, a hawk. He matters. He does, man. You guys have heard me say, I think we're just going to be shuffling guys all around the secondary. It doesn't matter about their position. Kirby's probably the one exception to this because it's not that he has horrible coverage skills by any means. He's probably the short end of the stick. What do you want to say? The worst guy in coverage out of all the guys in the team. So he's not bad. I just think he's got some stuff to clean up for sure. He's probably best at single high safety coverage, which you guys have heard me talk about, so I won't beat it up to death, but I think he's going to be just fine in time. All right, Quentin, what do you got? Greetings, salutations, y'all. Don't nobody get worked up. Brand is the GOAT of this mess, and he will be all good once again. You can believe that. Yeah, I'm not betting against Brad Holmes in anything he does until I'm proven that he's, maybe raised some question marks. Hey, man, I agree, Silver. I'll go with that. Bo, we didn't get a kicker, but that could indicate Bates is in the picture. It's either that or, potentially did you just say, hey, Michael Badgley's just, we're okay with him. Both are possible. How about that? Thomas, Manu plus Hank Fraley in the equals monster in the making. Yes, I agree with that. I just think I was really surprised we didn't hear more chatter about Hank Fraley being picked up by somebody to be a coach. Maybe there was conversations you and I aren't aware of. Maybe Fraley just wants to stay where he's at. Who knows? But he is, in my opinion, one of the best, if not the best, offensive line coaches in the entire NFL. So you give him someone like him or Christian to work with, I think he's going to get some real good results out of him. You cannot teach what these guys have. Again, not to be the dead horse, but my biggest worry with Christian is his lack of he's probably going to have a harder time getting so much leverage wins over people, where if you watch his college stuff, he relied on that a lot. He relied on just being bigger than other people a lot of times. And not that Manu didn't. Manu, I think you could see he just hadn't been taught a whole lot, not effective stuff for that level. And it's no disrespect to the coaches he had. It's just he's going to need to learn a lot more stuff. And you already heard me beat up those topics. So I think both of them have high upside ceilings. Manu's is just simply off the chart, though. All right, Thomas Holmes has to make a run at Bates. Yeah, I'm guessing he probably will, but there's going to be a lot of teams in this league trying to do that. Silver, Coach, first I wished for Arnold, impossible, and it happened. Believe it, I wished for Giovanni Manu, and what do you know? Question mark. They get Manu. This is becoming fun. Yeah, if you saw video on him, if you saw some breakdowns on him prior to the draft, I got to imagine, Surfer, you're spot on with things just like anybody else who watched him. You could see all the potential there. You could also see what he had been taught. So I really think you give him a sound season in the NFL with Hank Fraley, with probably some other coaches helping him out. Probably by year 2, you're going to start seeing some significant growth out of him. And what do you know? That's potentially when they could need him. Jason, what do you got? Great draft given the placements we had. Welcome to Grit Culture Rookies. Super Dome or bust, 100% with that, Jason. And I'm glad you busted out the tree of destiny, the tree of fate, the tree of fruition, whatever you want to say, to help make this all possible. So thank you for being so selfless with the tree of greatness. All right, JDC, everybody got better, 100%. Let's go. War games begin. Yes, let them all begin. Let's see what happens from here. Let's see, Dave, sad news now. Some people have to go. Yeah, you've got a stacked team, and you ain't going to be able to keep everybody. And it's not going to be because of contract negotiations, whatever. It's just you are going to watch a lot of people get cut from the Detroit Lions this year, and as soon as they're cut, other teams are going to be snacking on them, trying to get them to come here. Yeah, you're going to see a lot of guys go unemployed for about 10 seconds. All right, Bo, do you want to play a game? Yes, war games reference there. Shall we play a game? There we go. Thomas, Bo Booth, yeah, a war games. Yeah, old 80s movie, and I love that movie to death. Silver Server, did you see the Eagles question mark? They doubled up on DBs as well, Mitchell and Dijon. But I tell you what, I'm glad they got Mitchell, so Lions got Arnold. Rakestraw looks great. yeah, I really like them both. I mean, I like the other guys, Mitchell and Dijon too. Dijon, excuse me, however you want to pronounce his name. Great. All four of them, I think, are going to probably have pretty good careers in the NFL. I do like our guys. The biggest thing I had, Mitchell, I think, is more athletic than Arnold. I don't think you're going to get too many people that will disagree with that. But Mitchell also, right, wrong, or indifferent, he just hasn't faced the same level of competition that Arnold has. So it's going to probably take him a while to especially learn how to negotiate some of those routes for some faster, bigger, stronger receivers. He's going to have to maintain the gaps between him and them. So that could take a while for him to learn. He's got promising upside. So we'll see what happens, but I'm glad we got Arnold. All right, let's see. Michael D., what do you got? Greetings, salutations, Coach Duke Crew. One Pride back at you. Good morning, buddy. All right, Hatman, the North Division is getting back to the good old black and blue division. It's going to be interesting. 1,000% with that. 1,000%. Bo, good morning. Or Boo, good morning. Good morning to you, too. Server, now how about those Steelers? Question mark. Offensive tackle Troy Fajardo and Zach Frazier talking about solidifying that O-line with Justin Fields? Question mark. Pittsburgh might be underestimated this year. Yeah, they did some things to address that. They're trying to make that particular unit stronger and a strength. So give them all the credit in the world for doing it. They've got a game plan. Bo, when the Eagles picked Mitchell, the dominoes started to fall. Brad did his thing and traded up for Arnold. Yeah, and Brad has come out and said he did try to make some trades into the teens. He couldn't make it work. Probably, the team's asking too much. Would it have been for Arnold? Would it have been for Mitchell? Would it have been for Timbuktu? Who knows? But he definitely was trying to move up the boards. Finally got the good value. As we all talked about when he got Arnold, man, you could see the Green Bay War Room. I finally found that video. Yeah, they were less than happy. Same with Tampa Bay. So Brad probably knew if he didn't go up and get him now, he wasn't going to be there. All right, Brother Ken, greetings, Dan and family from the Mile High City. Good morning to you, and I know it's got to be dang early there. Detroit D, let's go. Welcome to the Terradome, 100%. They had no-fly zone, the Terradome. I like the way you're thinking. Greetings, salutations, everyone. Back at you, D. Hopefully having an outstanding morning. Matthew Grace, greetings, salutations. Good morning, everyone. Super Bowl or bust. Woo! 100% with that. So good morning to you. JK, greetings, salutations here. To listen like usual or sit back, relax, and enjoy, hopefully, the good sounds of Lions Talk Live. All right, Bo, welcome to the Iron Dome where the air traffic control crew enforces the no-fly zone. Man, we're throwing out a whole lot of stuff, and I like it. Detroit D, got my Arnold Branch jersey on the way. Woo! 100%. And I think, they're both going to be rookies. They're both going to go through some learning opportunities this year. But if they can coach them up, where I think, man, by year 2 and 3, they're probably your starting corners. And I like that. All right, JDC, Magic 8 Ball says Lions Super Bowl, question mark. Hell yeah. I agree with the Magic 8 Ball. I think it's ours to lose this year. So normally we had to fight our way there, and you're going to have to earn the right to be there. You're going to have to earn the right to win your games every time you walk on the field. But I think we got an outstanding chance at it. Rocky, what do you got? Good morning, all. It's a wait-and-see draft, but hearing good things about it. So looking at only about 3 to make it with the team the Lions have. Well, I think there's a real possibility they'll be able to keep them all. The question is, Rock, I would say, do some of these guys go to the practice squad? I'm going to think all of them are going to be on the active roster. Why am I thinking that? Because the fact you traded up for them, I don't think they're letting any of them go. I think you're going to see each of these guys, assuming they don't bust in preseason, you're going to see all of them make the active roster. Matthew, good draft, B+. I'll go with that. Let's see, Brother Ken. I went over to Bob Quinn's picks. He drafted 39 players, and 7 turned out to be studs. He only hit on 7 players. Success rate, 17%. Yeah, if you look at the NFL, man, there's a whole lot of guys that bust, and Bob Quinn the scouting department, whatever you want to say, they just were not sound at drafting players. So, good job with that. I see BS pick. I'll go with that. Yes, 1. You can't grade a draft until the end of the season. Brad Holmes. I'll go with that. Yeah, probably give it at least 2 years, and then you can have a fair grade on a draft class. 9 drinks, A-. Every pick was good. I'll go with that. Nothing wrong with that opinion. Surfer, Sion Vaki looks great as a safety. I hope and think he will help a whole lot. Hope Campbell manages him well with those halfback implications. I like I said, I think he's going to play all over the place. I think he's going to play all three phases of the game. And hey, that has huge value. Mile Marker, good morning, great draft. And Mile, by the way, I just want to say, I know I saw after I went off air yesterday, I know you made a donation, so I am getting that over along with the funds generated from the video yesterday to try to help out with Trey and his family. So thank you for that. Yeah, anybody doesn't know, his house burnt down. Got the notice yesterday. So yesterday, today, and tomorrow's videos, any donations, any income the videos make, I'm donating it all to his family and try to help them recover. All right, Rocky, what do you got? This is a year for the practice squad will be picked apart by the teams with the talent they have to put on it. Yeah, that's why I think they're going to be incredibly careful, Rock, who they put out there. So I agree with you on that. Amy Myers, what do you got? Draft Mike Hunt. Fair enough. Let's see. Ed, what do you got? Good morning, Coach Duke Crew. Good morning to you. Hopefully you're having some good luck fishing this morning. Here's Johnny. Lions roster filling out nicely. I would concur. I mean, draft Mike Hunt. I think there could be something to that. 9 drinks. Mark O does the woo too. There you go. Marco, there you go. Marco Polo. There you go. Silver Server. Hey, Chargers got Camille Vildor. I guess you can't get everyone you wish granted. Yeah. And I know you wanted him, Vilda, excuse me. But unfortunately, hey, we got some other guys. Hopefully that'll be good enough for you. All right, Matthew, still need to pick up some undrafted free agents, kicker, center, etc. I see the list came out. I haven't really reviewed it or done any work on it, but I think there was a center on that. I think there were some other players too, so even some edges. Bo, what do you got? Go back to sleep. Yeah, we heard you the first time. There you go. Broski Bear, Lions' first 2 picks were great, but the rest of the picks were terrible. Brad regressed after drafting the 2 cornerbacks. You know, that's your take. You've heard my take, Broski. I actually liked some of the guys, especially the offensive line pickups. The 2 defenders, we'll wait and see. Vaki could end up being something. I do have some questions about him, but you know, you've heard me review it already. Let's see, Emily, he's related to you. R.U. Stone. It could happen. It could be. Yes, JDC. James, Lions cornerbacks look promising. Is next best step to sign the Michigan Panthers field goal kicker? Could be, yeah. Jake Bates. I think we're a couple of weeks away from where we can potentially sign him, or any NFL team could sign him. So I do believe they're going to try to sign him. But again, a lot of people are. Man Bear, Brad did a great job. I'll go with that. Brother Ken, Nick Saban did a great job of cross-training his players, left tackle, right tackle, corners, safeties, etc. Saban's players are very NFL ready. Yeah, I agree with that, and I think there seems to be a correlation to why teams want to draft them too. All right, Man Bear, great draft. I concur. Ed, considering where the Lions were picking and looking for their needs, I think Brad did very well. Yeah, I don't think we're going to be very sad with this draft class. Are they all going to be studs? Probably not. That's not realistic. But I think there's potential for 3, maybe 4 of them to really pan out well. All right, JDC, Man Bear, agree. Man Bear, good draft. On paper, will it transfer to the real world? Question mark. Stay tuned, find out. Lions Talk Live. Yeah, the only way to find out is to see them get out there and perform. You can either do it or you can't. All right, couple more here. Like I said, I have to cut off a little early today. Bo, development is key. Exclamation point, rotation. I concur. And I don't think you're going to have to overload any of these rookies this year unless they deserve it. I think you're going to be able to bring them along a little bit. Server, you say he might not be Deion Sanders, but he says he will be. Yes, he wants to be. That kid exudes confidence. I have never seen somebody so young, so confident in front of a camera. Heck, way to be prepared. Yeah, to be prepared. I'll go with that. I mean, he wants to be great, it seems. So I think he's going to put in the work. I just don't like overloading expectations on him. I see what I see. I think he's pretty sticky. I think this year, could he be the number 2 or number 3 corner? Absolutely. I don't know if I would overload him with responsibilities as number 1 unless he deserves that and earns that throughout the season. So we have to wait and see. Frank Towns, we got the bigs up front. Brand Holmes and DC nailed it. Yeah, they did help the offensive line more than we anticipated they would after watching the first 2 picks. But we've been talking about it for months here. Where this draft was incredibly deep was wide receiver and offensive line. So I think they got some good value with the offensive lineman they picked up. Brother Ken, this year is going to be a make or break year for Aaron Glenn. If the defense can't measure up, can him? Yeah, I'm sure he's aware of it. That's why I think he's trying to go with what I'm anticipating, what schematics he's going to run on defense. I think he's just going to be blitzing the heck out of, and I've talked about this before, going to be blitzing the heck out of every other team and just saying, hey, if you can constantly throw into those windows while you're getting hit and not throwing some picks, then fine, you're going to beat us. But if you can't, we're going to get some extra turnovers, and those turnovers help out the offense because you know what? It's more free opportunities for them to go after it and score points. Here's Johnny. Fun how opposing teams fans trash the Lions drafts every year. Yeah, let them do it, man, because it doesn't make sense to them. They think it's not going to work, but yet everybody goes back and revisits those drafts, as you're alluding to, Johnny, and yeah, they seem to work out just fine. Steve, Sion Vaki will be an offensive weapon. He could be, man. If used right, he could help out a bit. Let's see. Silver Server, you know better than most, it is football speed that matters. Agreed. Yeah, just because you can run a 40 doesn't mean you can play fast. Some players time great but gets caught from behind. Some do not time well but never get caught. Yeah, and I know I always use the example of Jerry Rice. It ran like a 4.75 or something like that in the 40-yard dash. But, you know, good luck catching him. All right, broski. Brad walked into a bar in British Columbia and drafted this Manu guy, ? There's not even a pic of him on the ESPN board. That's all right, man. You don't need it to be. I can tell you from what I watched, he's pretty dang good. He's raw, but 6'8", 350 pounds, can run the 40 at that size in under 4 seconds. Check out his bench press reps, his leverage responsibilities, his footwork for a guy that size. Broski, I will say this. I think he's going to be pretty special, and I'm basing a lot of that because of Hank Fraley is going to be able to take what you can't coach and turn them into something real good. All right, guys, like I said, I got to cut off a little earlier today. I gave you about an extra 12 minutes than I anticipated I was going to be able to do, but if there's some breaking news today, you're probably not going to be able to get it into it until tonight. I am going to do the live tonight with at 7 o'clock to 8 o'clock tonight. So feel free to come on out and cheer us on where we get doing that. But Mark Orm from Orm's Forum, we're all going to do that show together. Feel free to stop on in. Otherwise, I hope you all have a great day. If you haven't yet subscribed to Lions Talk Live, please consider doing so. About whatever it was, 80 or 70 subs, something like that, away from hitting 6,600 subs. Never thought I could say that. But if you can help out, that would be great. Also, we've got about 700 people watching live. If you guys can all hit the thumbs up button, or heck, if half of you can hit it, that'd be great. Help the channel out a ton. Take care. Enjoy the rest of your day. Leave the comments if you guys have any questions or thoughts on the draft picks or whatever your draft grades are. We'll see you all on the next Lions Talk Live. Take care, everybody.